Welcome back, everyone, to the Moms Like Me podcast powered by Support Now. I am so excited for our beautiful guest today, Ashlyn Burger. Ashlyn is a mom just like us, y'all, and she was living, I would call it a pretty typical, ordinary mom life, although there is, her husband does things that most husbands don't do, which we'll get to in a second. And then her world very quickly flipped, pretty recently, actually. So I don't want to steal too much of Ashlyn's thunder here, but Ashlyn is a proud parent of Brooks and her beautiful daughter, Penelope, who was born with Down syndrome. And you might be familiar with her or her last name because Jake, her husband, is an active Major League Baseball player. And fun fact, to their knowledge, to my knowledge, they're the first couple to have a child with a disability that's actively playing baseball today. And so they're really kind of stepping into this role, not just of parents with a disability, but also very quickly becoming advocates and leaders in this space and using the reach that they have through Major League Baseball and beyond to spread awareness of Down syndrome and all the ways that this disease, this syndrome can actually be a source of something beautiful. So Ashlyn, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, Ashlyn, I want you to tell a little bit more of your story. Again, I know I don't want to leave Brooks out of the conversation here, but talk me through, life before Penelope and then when you got the diagnosis and just kind of how that journey evolved.
Yeah, we found out we were having a little girl last April. And like most things in our life, if we're not with Jake, we're on FaceTime with Jake. And so we did our gender reveal together. We had the genetic screening email on FaceTime. And I remember going, oh, we're going to have a little girl. And then right next to the little girl, it said 99% trisomy 21. So really quickly, I Googled trisomy 21, pops up, Down syndrome. And I kind of took a second and I was like, what? And then I paused and I said, hey, we're going to have a little girl. And he goes, yeah, I know. And I was like, and she's going to have Down syndrome. And Jake goes, okay, and what do you mean? She's going to have Down syndrome. Did you hear me? And he's like, okay, and it's just such a perfect example of who Jake is because anything can get thrown at him. He's just okay, and so he was kind of my calming being in that moment. But I was so confused, right? You get a Down syndrome diagnosis and you're like, how did that happen? No one in my family has Down syndrome, right? That was our first thought was well, how? We were so uneducated in that moment. We didn't know that 1 in 700 couples, no matter what the age is, can have a child with Down syndrome. It's not a genetic anomaly. So we learned a lot very quickly. We learned really quickly that Jake's the only active Major League Baseball player to have a child with Down syndrome. And so we've always been kind of searching. Jake's always been searching, why can I hit the baseball? Why do I hit it so hard? Why do I hit it out of the ballpark? Why am I here? And I mean, within 48 hours, it was click. Yeah. There is a reason that you are there doing what you do. And there's a reason that we were chosen to be Penelope's parents. And so it came so fast that we knew we were in a very unique place after finding out that no one else really has walked recently before us. And in this era that we live in with social media and media and Jake's job, that we had a really awesome opportunity to be able to drive some incredible awareness to Down syndrome.
So Ashlyn, I want to go back a little bit because it sounds like when you received the news, first of all, I'm stunned that you just got an email. No one called you. You just found this out via email.
Yeah, my OB called me I think several hours later, but I guess we get the results faster than them now. And by the time, they're in between patients and they see things and whatever.
Wow.
She called me, hey, we need to talk. And I was like, oh, I already know. She's like, okay, well, you need to come in because we got to do more tests. And I'm like, we're good. We know she has Down syndrome. If she doesn't, she doesn't. If she does, it says 99%. We're going to err on the side that she does. And then that was kind of that conversation.
Wow. I can't imagine getting seeing that and honestly just how quickly the emotions swung for you from little girl Brooks is so you were getting one of each, so excited to have that. I think it's not completely uncommon for women to be excited about having a girl, and then just to like almost like instantly to have that joy like transfer into shock and confusion.
Yeah, it was like straight like, wait, how? And it was confusion. Like it was just shock and confusion.
So during the pregnancy, your mental headspace, how did you cope? How did you like, it seems like there was some time that it took for you to
Yeah.
process. Like what were those things that you were doing? And it's okay to say, like, have you processed it? Like,
Yeah.
because it is so different than an able-bodied, medically, typical child.
I think I have yet to come up with the right word, right? So, like, they use the word grief a lot, but I don't feel like it's grief. And I feel like there's moments of grieving that you have, but it's not grieving, oh, a perfectly healthy baby, my little girl. It's like it would hit you at like different moments, right? Like, and this was before I knew so much. And it was like, is Jake gonna be able to walk her down the aisle? Is she gonna be able to have kids of her own? There's lots of like those thoughts. Those are the thoughts. Like now I get messages from moms who are just got the diagnosis and they have other kids and they're like, does your son love her? And it's like all these things that you don't ever question when your child is typically able. And so you have these little moments of like that, like, is Jake gonna be able to walk her down the aisle and grieving those things? And then once you learn, like, yes, she's going to get married. She's currently promised to several little men, all who have Down syndrome. Is she gonna be able to have kids? Yes, she's extremely fertile. So, I mean, there's just so many moments that happen like that while you're pregnant and hormonal. And I think those moments were really tough. And what helped me the most was seeing other families on Instagram and seeing how normal their lives were. Like nothing has changed, maybe just a few more doctor's appointments. And so when we got the diagnosis, I was like, I texted some of the most veteran players' wives that we know that we've played with. And like that means like they've played baseball for like 10, 15 years. They've seen it all. And I'm like, all right, whose kids got Down syndrome? Like, I need to know how to do it. We're on 4 flights every 7 days.
Yeah.
I now have a baby who's going to need different types of therapy, more therapy. She's going to need speech, OT, PT. That wasn't even my thought, thinking she's going to have open heart surgery at 4 months old when I don't have a husband at home to be able to be there for it. It was just like, how do I do this? Who's led the path? And very quickly we found out there's not many people who have been in our position. I think it's about 3 other players in what they know of the time of baseball have ever had it. And the last guy that did, I'm going to butcher his name. I'm really not good with baseball. His name's Albert Pujols. He played for the Cardinals for a really long time.
Yeah.
My husband.
He's a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Are all over Jake's bedroom. I mean, it's crazy how like God works in little ways like that.
Wow.
But he
That's
was
crazy.
to have a child with Down syndrome. And so,
Yeah.
but their daughter was older. She wasn't a baby. So there's just so many like, okay, well, now I got to figure this out on my own. And that wasn't the case either. The Down syndrome community, I mean, just every person in that community has been just a wealth of knowledge and support. And they easily settled all those worries. And it's like just seeing people live their normal life. And I think that's another thing that was hard too, was I was like, okay, well, and I've seen a lot of messages that I get now of this, of like, how do you feel when people look at her? Do you think, oh, this baby looks like she has Down syndrome, or, oh, I feel so sorry for these people? And I'm like, my head has never gone to that space because she's absolutely perfect and she's she's my daughter. And like, I see her and I do not see Down syndrome. Like, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I see her. And I think that's another thing that like no one ever told me. And I try to tell people all the time is like, you're going to hold your child and go, oh, you're not going to like hold your child and be like, oh, my baby has Down syndrome. And it's just, those sorts of conversations were things that like really helped me while I was pregnant and process everything.
And she truly she's so beautiful. She really is. I love that, by the way. It's like I don't see Down syndrome, I see my daughter. And I think that I do think as outsiders, but typically we prescribe the diagnosis, the disability to the person. And whereas when you're someone close to that
Yeah.
person, that's not how you're not viewing your kid with their with the things that the outside world might be seeing as a disability. You're
Mhm.
seeing them as who they are, and your job, your role is to love and to nurture the person they are, not who they could have been. And that's
Yeah.
across the
Mm.
parenting like
World.
journey in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
But I do love that. And as someone who now follows you on Instagram, like she really is so beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that, like she really is. She's got such a sweetness in her face. I have to ask, on the birth side, did it feel different? Did your pregnancy feel different? Was it all mental where like it felt different because you knew something
Mhm.
was different about her? Like what do you remember?
I mean, I wasn't sick this time, so that was great. Everything was the same. There was a lot more doctor's appointments. I mean, at a certain point, once we got her heart defect around 28 weeks, I had to go 2 times a week. I had the same birth that I had with Brooks. I was able to go into labor naturally. I had her without an epidural, just like I had with Brooks. Well, I didn't with Brooks either. So I had both of my children my way. Our doctors and my team were so supportive. We had to have NICU there to make sure because there is a higher chance of children with Down syndrome being born still. But they were still like willing and like they knew how important my birth my way was. I love giving birth. I love the experience of giving birth. I love the pain of being in labor and feeling everything and then pulling my child out, and like it's one of my favorite things to do. People think I'm crazy, and that was really important to me. Was I don't have any control in this. Well, I never do, but if I can just have the natural birth that I want, like that would be really cool. And I was so happy that I was able to do that and experience
I was
that like with her as well. That's not the case for every diagnosis. There is so many tiny little things that change the course of your birth plan.
right.
And so the hardest thing for me was accepting that that might not be the case and having to like let that go.
Yeah.
So I was really, really like felt so blessed that I was able to do like have that one thing that I really wanted.
And did she go full term? Were you full term or? Wow.
3 weeks on the day. They told me she was gonna be at 34 weeker and come out at 3 pounds, and I was like, "No, I'm not listening to you. She's gonna be okay." And
Yeah.
I just trust my mom good on that one a lot.
Well, and again, just like another example of what we tend to do. We project, oh, this is what we think is going to happen. This is what, and so
Mhm.
Penelope very early on already proved that whatever society might say is standard, I might actually surprise you. And I'm gonna keep surprising the people around me.
Mhm.
I I'm also really curious because I get these questions a lot from the family or from people that listen to this podcast when we interview women like you. When she was born, like the emotions around it, like did you was it pure joy? Like were you afraid? I mean, because I think you're anticipating it in your belly and you're coming to terms with it, and now she's here.
Mhm.
What was that moment like?
I'd say I still am struggling with this part. Um, I have her I push her out. I pulled her out myself. I'm holding her, and I mean, 10 seconds later, they just grabbed her from me. And she wasn't not breathing. She was breathing. She was screaming, but they thought she had some stomach issue that she didn't have. And they immediately took her from me, and I didn't see her again for like an hour. Um, and that's like the hard part, right? Where, I mean, could you imagine? I mean, people do it all the time. They don't get to see their babies right away. That was really tough. And I also didn't think I was gonna be so emotional, or triggered is probably the better word, by every single nurse and doctor being like, "Oh, this baby has suspected trisomy 21." And I literally yelled at someone and was like, "Stop saying that. Like, she has Down syndrome. Well, it's not confirmed. I don't care that it's not confirmed from her blood result. Like, she has Down syndrome. Stop talking about her like she's a test subject. I gave birth to her 2 hours ago." And, like, the trip to the NICU, Jake had to push me in a wheelchair. It was, like, a mile long. Like, they didn't put a bed in there for me, and I was postpartum. I just had a baby. I just pushed a baby out after laboring for 2 hours, and now I have to sit in, like, this wooden rocking chair, and I can't lay down. I couldn't go back to the maternity ward. I didn't have my own bathroom in her little NICU room. I had to go to a public bathroom in the hospital floor. I mean,
Wow.
it was a lot. So that I'm still processing. But when it comes to her, it was pure joy, and it still is.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that is like what you're explaining is so symbolic of how we typically talk and treat people with disability. Like that whole story is just really like a microcosm of just like the overall like the how we talk about it, how we treat the parents in the situation. Meanwhile, like you're good. Like it's
Yeah.
not scaring you. It's scary to
Oh,
everyone else, but it's not scary to you. Because
yeah, I think
for you, this is my daughter. Like, I'm going to love and protect her and take care of her. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to, like, take that away. So just let me accept her. And why don't you do that as well?
it's like the thing we've noticed a lot is doctors and medical professionals all feel like they need to, like, treat the Down syndrome, and they treat her care differently than if she didn't have Down syndrome. So a lot of the times it's like, okay, well, what would you do with a typical child? Okay, it's different. Okay, well, then I have to, like, Jake and I have to sit back and take steps back and kind of reevaluate everything, and it's like that every step of the way.
Yeah.
And I think it's becoming better from those that I know that have walked before us, that are like, it was way worse when, we had her, and it was 26 years ago. And so incredible people have paved that path before
Yeah.
us, but there's still a lot of room to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk to me, Ashlyn, about, postpartum. Talk to me about your community. Talk to me about your support system. How did you help, help in your recovery, help in support of Penelope and her needs while also taking care of a toddler? What did that look like for y'all?
My husband is an actual saint. He's incredible. The first night he slept on the floor of the NICU, and then I sent him home. So, like, you need to go home to our toddler. And that was like a whole thing. You like see these videos of like the toddler coming into the hospital room, seeing the new baby. And like that, I'm still grieving, not having that experience. It's like those little things that you never know until you don't experience them, or like they happen, that you start going like, oh, my parents were here watching my 2-year-old. Jake's parents were here watching our 2-year-old. Like, there was a whole
All
house
hands on deck. Yeah.
that kept him very busy. His birthday was 2 weeks later, so everyone helped me, like, throw together, like, a last-minute birthday party for the neighbor kids, and just it was an incredible, like, time to see all of our family come together too, and all of our
Yeah.
neighbors, play dates, and people bringing the food and things like that were really, really helpful.
Yeah. So you have very quickly kind of assumed the role of advocate, which I think a lot of people, it takes them more time for a lot of reasons. One is those griefy moments may be more frequent or prolonged. For others, it's they don't feel like they're stable enough yet to support their family, to where like they're still trying to figure it out. And for you, as you talked about, you're in this unique position to both be this wonderful role model to your daughter and to Brooks, and to begin to share more about what life with Down syndrome or caring for someone with Down syndrome looks like. So I'd love for you to talk about, when did this idea of starting the Burger Family Foundation begin to form? Because again, if I'm not mistaken, Penelope is 6 months old. So like you really have wasted no time at all. But I want to get the backstory on the conversations you and Jake had. How did this all come about, and kind of what are the goals for this foundation?
We knew really quickly that once we kind of we're like, oh, diagnosis, it's our purpose. Let's start hedging the bushes here on this one. And so, I mean, I think starting 2 weeks after we got our diagnosis, we started we knew we were going to start a foundation. We didn't know how or what we were going to do. We were so active in that role of being communicative about Penelope and her diagnosis because we wanted to, one, set an example for people getting that diagnosis. We did not want people to get the diagnosis and feel embarrassed or ashamed. And we're in a very unique position to be able to scream it from the rooftops about who our daughter is and how we're so proud of who she is and that we love her. And that was why we chose very publicly to make the announcement. We did the exclusive with People magazine. We've done tons of constantly. We never for a second wanted anyone to say, oh, their daughter has Down syndrome. How come they haven't announced it yet? They must not be happy. We wanted to control that narrative immediately. So during my 9 months of cooking her, we toyed a lot with what we were going to do. And we live out in the outskirts of Nashville and in the country. Jake got traded to the Texas Rangers. And so our joke was, well, Jake was going to buy her a pony when he retired because he just wants to be a farmer. We were like, well, a pony's really therapeutic. It'd be really cool if we just had a ranch where a bunch of people with Down syndrome could come and work and hang out. And that is exactly how it started taking form and taking shape. Was we wanted our life for our daughter to look like, even though, she's probably going to hate being on the farm now that we've done so much in this realm of things. That's what children do. So that was really quickly how we kind of came up with the idea of what we wanted and how we wanted to gear the Burger Family Foundation.
And in terms of what it is and what people can expect, so if people want to get connected with the Burger Family Foundation, what are the resources? What are you trying to accomplish for families here?
So we just launched our Pens Pearls, which is our fund where we get to donate directly to families and help them cover medical expenses and kind of give them some grants in that respect. We plan to use that fund for other things as well that families with all disabilities can apply for and use. It's not just specifically Down syndrome. And so we've been selling really cool merch. I should have just worn my hat, but things that are collaborated on with the Texas Rangers, Jake's baseball team, just really cool, cute merch anyways. We've been raising funds. We're hosting Down Syndrome Day at Globe Life Field. We actually sold it out it's going to be a really cool time with a bunch of really special families to feel celebrated and loved. And then we are working on raising funds to build Lucky Ranch, which is going to be our ranch that employs adults with disabilities and allows other therapeutic centers to come and use our facilities with their patients. So that is kind of our goal.
I love it. I love it. And again, what you've accomplished already in 6 months is amazing and such a testament to using this blessing, this privilege for good. And it sounds like also kind of helping you in your own way, kind of stepping into this role for Penelope too. So you kind of assume this role for your family, and it really affirms your commitment to her while also affirming that they're creating more opportunities for this community and beyond. And I love that the grants aren't just for this disability, and that y'all recognize that oftentimes funding is one of the hardest challenges of families with a disability. I think the last statistic I saw is on average it costs close to $1 million to raise a child with a disability in comparison to an able-bodied child that may cost closer to 200 to 300 grand in their lifetime. That is an enormous difference for families that had steady, good incomes that suddenly find themselves in a completely different place. And as you know, it's all the things. It's the therapies, it's the equipment, it's all of the things that are required for it. It's not just the medical bills, because your whole life becomes transformed by this, and you want to make sure that you provide opportunities for your kid. And so I love it so much. I am so inspired by the both of you, and again, using your platform for good. My last question before we wrap up here is, what's your number one piece of advice for a mom that might be pregnant right now, who has an indication that their child may not be the way they maybe have dreamt it? What would be your piece of advice for them?
So did not think I'd get this emotional, but it would be to take the photos. Uh, I get so many messages from moms that are like, I wish that, like, I'm so happy she's here, and I just really regret not taking the photos and celebrating my pregnancy. I couldn't imagine looking back and not being able to show her a photo of how happy I was that she was growing my stomach. Um, so it'd just be like to take the photos.
I love that. I love that. Ashlyn, thank you so much. And just real quick before we part here, where can people find you? Where can people find the Burger Family Foundation in case they want to learn more?
I'm on Ashlyn Carmela. My middle name is still my husband's like, seriously? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I can't change it now. On Instagram, I think TikTok. I'm trying the whole influencer thing. Want to show mothers that are getting that diagnosis that our life is still normal, even though we're on way more flights and go to way more baseball games than everybody else. And burgerfamilyfoundation.org is where you can find some really cool stuff, some great information, buy things for loved ones that got the diagnosis, and things along those lines too.
I love it. Ashlyn, thanks so much for joining us today. I personally look forward to many more conversations with you.
Thanks for having me.